I hope you have seen and learned the already known concepts. With that previous knowledge, come let us move into the next part, which is the last part of the first lesson, which is measurement of time. Along with that, we will do some sums. Okay. First one is measurement of time. First, we have to know what is time, right? If two instances are happening, or else if one instance is starting at one point and if it is finishing at another point, the interval between these two instances. For example, if I am starting the class now, after few minutes I will end this class. What is the interval between the starting point and the ending point? That interval is called as time. See here, the interval between two instances or events is called as time. We have already learned the 7 fundamental quantities. In that, this is one of it, and its unit is second, denoted by small letter S. Okay. Right. Now we have so many devices, so many instruments to measure time. Okay. First, few of this very simple to complex we will move now. The stopwatch and stop clock both have the same meaning, right? But stopwatch more definedly means the digital clocks, right? So stopwatch and stop clock we have, and sundials we have. I will explain it what is it. And sand and water clocks, digital, analog clocks, atomic clocks, quartz clocks. Right. Now stopwatch and stop clocks. I will show you one type and I will recognize you where you would have seen this stopwatches, digital stopwatches. Now I have this one instrument here. I will come and focus. Right. Now this is a mechanical or a simple stopwatch or stop clock. Right. Now this will have the seconds and minutes over here, right? Now inside it there will be one small clock, right? Now there is one lever like system here, right? Which is start and stop, and this is a reset lever, right? Now for example, if there is a running race, right? Or if I am starting one experiment, what I should do? It should be at the center, right? Now I have to start it. Right? Now the running race is going on. If the athlete finishes at that point, again I have to stop. Now what is the time taken? 10 seconds. Right? Now I have to reset it. Now again I can start, stop, reset it. Okay? This is a simple stop clock. Now digital stopwatches, you can have it in your athletic races. Nowadays it is a modified digital stopwatches have come. Right. Now what is the second thing? Sundial, sand and water clocks. I will show you a picture here. This is a picture of a sundial. You can see it in focus, children. Right. Here it was used in older days, in King's period, Alexander King's, and in India we had one king called as Maharaja Jai Singh, right? He had constructed sundials, a bigger clock, right? Which is called as Jantar Mantar. It is situated in Delhi and Rajasthan. Now even now we have it, what he constructed. Now this is the picture of it. You can also browse through your YouTube videos to see this, how it works, right? You can have it like Jantar Mantar sundials. So you can see the videos of it. Right? Now this will have a clock and it will have a wooden hand. Right? It is placed on the earth based on the movement of the sun. Sun will cast a shadow now. It will produce a shadow of this wood. Right? Sun will not be at one single position. Morning it will be at one point. So at noon it will be at the right center, and then it will take a sunset. Depending upon the position, it will cast a shadow of this wooden hand, at different points of the clock. Based on the movement of the sun, the shadow casted by this hand will differ. That will show you the time. This was very accurate. See children, how we Indians are very scientific even in those olden days, right? It will have an accuracy of even 2 seconds only will go wrong, right? So this is how we have to be very proud how scientific we are even in very old days, right? So this you can browse through your YouTube videos, right? This is what? Sundials, right? Now we have sand and water clocks. This is one interesting type of clock you have seen in cinemas, older cinemas, right? So this is a picture of sand clock or water clock. In any way we can see, right? If one instance is happening, right, the full sand or water, the time will be taken as completely come down, that duration will be taken as 1 standard time, right? So that is a format of water or sand clocks. Anything can be used. These are all very old tradition devices to measure time, children. Now we come to the modern time, right? Now digital clocks we have. This is what you young people will wear, a bigger one in your hand now. The time, exact time will be displayed with the temperature, seconds, even seconds of seconds, all those is displayed over here. Date, time. So that type of clocks are called as digital clocks. Analog clock is nothing but what the clock we people wear, right? With just numbers. We are ordinary wall clocks we have no. That are all types of analog clocks, right? Now these are quite advanced model of clocks named as atomic clocks and quartz clocks. This you will learn in your higher classes. As of now, know the names alone. Okay, children? Right. Now I told you here, no children, sundial. Now I am going to explain it. That the principle I said, no, that is the principle I had explained over here. It is based on the fact that the shadow of an object changes its position and length. What are the two things? It will change its position and it will change its length. That is, I said, no children, this is the object, right? So the length of the object and the position of the object will change depending on what? Depending on position of the sun. Superb, no? A very interesting. See how people have been taught in the olden days. How the sun moves, based on that the shadow will move. Based on that shadow we will get the time. Have you heard children in olden days, even my grandfather used to say, without seeing the watch, what's the time, Tata? If we ask, he'll say, he'll see the sun like this and he'll say, what's the time? Right? But nowadays what we are wearing? We are wearing digital clocks, analog clocks, all the types of clocks we have, right? So these are all basic scientific principles. Now along with that, we have come to the another topic called a solar year. 1 year we know children, 365 days. Correctly, to be very precise, we say 1 year is nothing but 365 and a quarter day. Quarter day, right? Quarter day means what? 6 hours extra, right? So that quarter year day we cannot add it in the calendar, no. So what we do? Quarter, 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 quarter. 4 quarters we will add and it will make 1 day, no. So that will be added in every 4th year. For example, take this 2020. What we had? February had 29 days, no, February month. Right? So that 4 quarter days only are added in the February as 1 day extra. The other 3 years will have 28 days only in the month of February. Right? So that concept you will learn in your 7th standard. Now as of now you have to know what is solar year. It is the time taken by Earth to revolve around the sun for once. You know very well, you would have learned in your law of standard. Sun will be at the center and Earth will be rotating and revolving around the sun, right? So if the time, how much time the Earth will take to come around the sun for one time, it is called a solar year. So by calculation, one solar year is 365.24 days. That is a quarter day approximately. So this is the definition for solar year. We will continue with some sums. Thank you children. come children, let us continue with the sums, right? With learn concepts, what we had already learned in this lesson, right? Now in the previous videos, we had learned some formulas for speed, velocity, acceleration, density, pressure and all. For based on that formulas, we are going to do sums, right? Now, first sum. Speed of a train is 20 meters per second. It is not 20 meters, but it is continuous. Okay, 20 meters per second. It can cross a pole in 10 seconds. What is the length of train? Right. Now, as you are in 6th standard children, you are so young. Right. So you don't get stressed and don't feel so difficult. What is the sum? How we have to do sum? Sum means it will come only in maths. How in physics we can do sums? So don't get all these questions in your mind. More than mathematics sums, physics sums will be very, very easy. Only thing you have to be thorough with the steps and the formulas. Okay? If you know that, you can crack all the sums just like that. Now I will tell you how to go step by step, how you can solve the sums. Okay. Now first the question will be little confusing. Read it again. You will get some new ideas. Right. Now learn speed of a train is 20 meters per second. It can cross a pole in 10 seconds. What is the length of train? First thing children, 2 times you will learn a question. Don't try to understand the question. Right? Don't break your head. Don't get tense. Take your pencil. Just underline the key terms in the sum. Right? What are the key terms? Speed. Key terms means you know physics based terms. Then numbers. 20 meters per second. 10 seconds. Then what we are going to find? What? How? That questions. Length of the train. So this is the general terms. These general terms you have to relate it with the physics terms. First, right? First you have underlined in pencil. Right? Now next step is write given. What is there given in the sum? You write it. First what they have given? Speed of the train is 20 meter per second. As it is, just like on sum, you write it. Speed of the train is what? 20 meter per second. Don't write the entire unit. Write it in the form of symbol. Now I have written 2 methods. Whatever conveniently you write it. Meter per. Already in the previous class I told you. Division means per. Right? Meter per second or 20 ms power minus 1. Right? But while writing only you should write ms power minus 1. But while reading it, you have to write like ms power minus 1. Should not be read like that. You should read it as meter per second. Okay? Right. Now what is the next one? It can cross a pole in 10 seconds. Here we have said speed 20 meters per second. Here 10 seconds only he has given. What is the quantity? You can get a doubt. If nothing is given like that, you just relate the number. What is this? 10 seconds. Seconds we have. For what quantity second is the unit? Of course time. So that you write. So don't get confused. What is there in this question? So time taken is 10 seconds. Then what? What is the meaning for question mark? What they asked? Length of the train. So they have asked. By asking length of the train, what they are asking indirectly? The distance of the train. Length is also a distance. Distance is also a length. So this is how you have to indirectly think what is being asked in the sum. I'll take another technique, children. Speed is a given. Time is given. What is the formula automatically? Speed is equal to distance by time. Correct? Speed is given. Time is given. Automatically what will be the next factor? Distance only. So this is how you have to think. Okay? Now given is over. Now come to the solution. As this is the first step, first sum I am going in a very detailed way, children. Don't expect me to do like this in the next sum. Right? So now come to the solution side. What is the formula? Given, a part of the mark will be given. For given. Okay. Now for solution, write the formula. Formula is very, very important. Don't think that this is a sum. Just like that, we are going to the steps. Formula is important. Right? Speed is equal to distance by time. Speed is equal to, say the formula in your heart for 3 times. Close your eyes and say. Speed is equal, pass the video and say. Speed is equal to distance and time. Distance by time. But what is being asked? Length of the train. Indirectly distance is asked. So distance only we need. So that you keep it in the left side. Other things, this is denominator, no. So this will go that side as multiplication. So you will get distance is equal to speed into time. Okay. So division, when it goes that side, it will go as cross multiplying factor. So it will go as distance is equal to speed into time. Can you understand this, children? So you are so young, putting children here. So don't get step by step only I am explaining it to you. Don't get confused. Right? Right. Then distance is equal to speed into time. What is the speed given? 20 meter per second. So I have written 20. You can write the unit or need not to write the unit. But for answer we need the unit. That is very important. Here there is no need, or if you like you can write it also. No problem. What is the speed? 20. What is the time given? 10 seconds. Here only one confusion will come, children. Here you see. The speed is 20 meter per second. Time is seconds. Meter should go with second. That you have to take care of. If the speed is given in kilometer per hour, then this must be in hour. If this is given in meter per second, if time taken is given in hour, you have to convert it into second. So the units must be correctly matched. Meter means second. Kilometer means hour. Centimeter means gram. CG is unit, no. Would have learned this in the previous classes. So be very clear with this. If you don't convert it here correctly, then your answer may go wrong. Here it is correctly given. Meter only second. So we can proceed with as it is. Right? Now you come here. 20 into 10. What is 20 into 10? 200. So distance, which is indirectly length of the train, is 200 meter. Put a box here. Then as it is physics based sum, physics teachers will expect this answer must be written in statements. Right? If at all, if it is not need based test, a theory based sum is asked in examination, the final statement must be written. Required length of the train is equal to 200 meter. If you don't have time, no children, ma'am, this is all time is highly consuming. How I can write this full statement? You write simply required answer 200 meter. Simple enough. But this statement is very important if it is a theory based answer. Clear? Need based objective type or fill in the blanks means no need. Okay? So this is how in a very detailed way we need to do the sum. Right? Now we will move the other sum. Right? A volume of a piece of iron is 30 centimeter cube. See how am I reading? 30 centimeter cube. As a mass of 234 gram. 234 gram. See here what I said. Gram should go with centimeter cube. If this is given in meter, what do you have to do? This is gram. So convert this into centimeter. Right? If this is given in meter, then that must be converted into kilogram. So like this you have to convert correctly. Now used. Okay. Right. Find the density of iron. Right. Now, what I told you first step, take your pencil, read the question for one more time, underline the key terms, volume, 30 centimeter cube, mass, 234 gram, density, find density. Key terms are underlined. Now write given, whatever we underline, volume is 30 centimeter cube, mass is 234 gram. Find question mark density. Formula solution we have started. SOL means solution. Don't think some other foreign terms there. Density is equal to mass by volume. So here density only correctly asked. So correct, we can proceed as it is. So no cross multiplication and all. So mass is 234 gram and volume is 30 centimeter cube. So I had substituted here. Now division you know no children. This is one striking out method of division. Straightly we can strike out. So I have done in pink color over here children. We can strike it with 2. 2 tables you all know. RNC standard. Don't say no. Right. 2 ones are 2. In 3, 1 time it will go. So 2 ones are 2. So in 3, 2 is over. Remaining 1 will be there. No, that 1 you keep it here. So 1 along with the 0 is 10. 2 table only we are striking it. 2 5s are 10. Otherwise go straightly. This is 30. 2 into 15 is 30. Clear? Right. Now if you strike it denominator for one time, at the same time you have to strike the numerator also. Same here. 2. 1 number will go. 2 ones are 2. 3 we have to strike out. That is 2 ones are 2. Remaining 1 will be there. That you have it for 4. 14 you will get. 2 7s are 14. Clear? Right. Now 117 by 15. This you can't strike further with same number. Same here. Both numbers are even, so we are striking it with 2. Now both numbers are odd, but we cannot strike it with one single common number. So have it for separate division. So the division and all you know it very well in your lower classes. So you have to see this. Right? In division we are getting the answer 7.8. Okay? You can refer to this division. Zoom it and see in your video. Right? What is the answer? 7.8. What is the unit? Here we have gram, here we have centimeter cube. But that centimeter cube is in the denominator. When it goes up, it will go as centimeter power minus 3. So gram minus what we have to read? Per. Gram per centimeter cube. See children, density is unit. Gram per centimeter cube, or if it is kilogram per meter cube. Kilogram will go with meter, gram will go with centimeter. Keep this in your mind. Right? So 7.8 gram centimeter cube. What I had missed here? That you have to write. The required density of the iron is 7.8 gram per centimeter cube. So you have to write that final statement also children. So in your book, page number 27, sums 4, 5, 6, you have it for your practice and copy it. Practice it and copy it in your classroom. Thank you children.